networking and relationships. So excited to be here today.
Amazing, amazing. And while you all were introducing yourselves, I went back to do a Facebook Live. It's going through all its iterations, and I see it on the screen, y'all. Y'all need to give me a hand clap. I did something right. Y'all need to give me a hand clap. So y'all share that and amongst your community, because we about to go in, and I tell you, God is right on time. You hear me? Right on time with that live. And I want us to reach the masses. So with that being said, it wouldn't be me and Dr. Karen. We have guests that are in the room with us. Dr. Karen would love this. It wouldn't be me if I don't come to y'all with some data, right? I got to come to y'all with some data, because then you'll be able to get where we're going with this conversation. So listen, in 2019, I was looking at the study, 2019 study, and I'm going to post the study because I don't want y'all to think I'm just pulling this all out the air. So in 2019, there were 3.5 billion people, right? Daily active social media users, and 45% of the population were social media users. Think about that. 3.5 billion people. And Facebook is the market leader, or it was in 2019. And look, 73% of marketers believe social marketing has been somewhat or very effective for their business. And 49% of consumers, they said they look at social media as an influencer, right? They look for recommendations to inform their purchasing decision. That's major, y'all. That's major. And then we got 54% of people who browse social media, they're doing that to research products. Products. So think about this, 71% of customers say if they have a positive experience of working with someone and they put that on social media, they buying from you. Come on, y'all. That's power. That's power. So I wanted to give y'all those stats. And again, I'm going to post it after this live so you can go research and read the entire article. So you got power here. So saying that, let me go to the esteemed panelists and start asking these powerful questions. And for those who just joined, understand that these questions are and answers will be in a positive light to uplift your business. So, saying that, let me start off with Mavis. I see you over there, Mavis. So, when is tagging appropriate versus excessive or spamming messages?
I think that's a very good question, especially with social media booming today. I remember with Facebook when it started out, you had to have a college ID to be on Facebook. But now even grandparents and great grandparents are on there and are looking for the trends. One of the things as far as with tagging, I try to be respectful. If it's somebody that I do not deal with on a regular basis, that I do not directly support their business or are in some type of relationship with, business or personal, I do not tag them when it comes to an event, because that's just like if you were maybe going to invite somebody to a party and you invited 50 more people and it was only supposed to be an invitation for two. I look at it that way. Um, just to be mindful of when you do tag people, if it's in a certain group and y'all are all on the same platform and you're trying to, cross promote to people who have already pre-agreed, I think that is feasible, that is okay. But when you just pick people at random to tag in events that they are not a part of, nor they have not agreed to, I think that's when you cross that line of being kind of offensive and also kind of being rude, for lack of a better term, because I didn't ask to be a part of this. I didn't sign up for this. So I just try to keep that in the back of my mind. I do tag a lot with people, especially when it comes to event, but those are people who have already agreed, beforehand to be a part of that movement or to help me promote that event.
Thank you, Mavis. I want to go to Latasha Briscoe because I know she has like
Yeah, I was out. Look,
the
I was ready to
sweatpants and
jump in.
chill. She got everything. I
I
know
was
you were like, please pick me
yeah.
next.
Call me in, coach. Yes, because as an event planner, sometimes I'm torn about, okay, when do I tag? Who do I tag? And what I've learned is, especially when I'm hosting a conference, because especially Sweatpants and Chill, we can have 25 presenters for that conference. And I try to make sure that I'm not over tagging them, while I want to make sure that they are tagged to show that association with the event. I don't want to spam their profiles either, because I know they also have other things going on. And I don't want to, I'm going to be posting about my event. I'm marketing my event for 11 months out of the year. No joke. 11 months out of the year, we are promoting that event. And I need to make sure that I'm not over spamming their profiles. So just like you mentioned, Mavis, you have to make sure that they are, one, associated with the event, that they have some sort of connection to that event and to that activity, and that with that, that's their agreement that, okay, you can tag me, but please don't over spam people. And business is one thing, especially when it comes to events, but then there are those people that just want to tag just to tag you, to say, oh, guess what I have going on. And some of that, it's like, yeah, you gotta weigh your options. Do they really need to know? Would they be interested if you were to pick up the phone and call them? If not, don't do it.
Thank you for sharing that. What about you, Valerie?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, because with the tagging, particularly for those individuals that have a number of events, and if you're being tagged on each and every one of them, it does get to be overkill. So what I've done with the events that I've had, and just even in regular posting, sometimes I will ask the individual, do you mind if I tag you in it? Because honestly, some people don't want to be tagged like that for whatever reason. So I definitely agree with what Latasha and Mavis have said, just having that protocol and just being mindful of that. And if you get a chance, if it's an event that's, let's say you're setting it up today and it's going to happen a few months from now, it does give you enough time to ask the person, do you mind if I tag you? Even if it's indirectly related, it gives you time to ask them, and then they will say yes or no, and you respect that decision and move on. But I think we do go crazy with the tagging sometimes. But we all know with Facebook, we can manage the tagging, untag ourselves, and just be nice about it and just untag if you do not want to be tagged.
Yeah, you said a mouthful right there. Each of you said a mouthful. Look, let me tell you, I had to change my settings, right? Because people were tagging me left and right. So now I will add those relevant ones to my profile. And anyone who knows me, I'm a huge, huge supporter of businesses, but there's a way and a manner that you do things. All right, Alonda, what about you?
Well, I am the queen of changing the settings. I definitely change my settings because I'm one of those people who people always tag to things, and I'm not a big fan of tagging. I definitely feel like if you are tagging someone, the post should definitely be relevant. I don't believe in hijacking people's pages just to advertise what you're doing, because I feel like the other ladies have said, it has to be relevant to one, their personality. Is it something that they're even going to be interested in, or would they participate? um and are is the relationship strong like that? Because, and also, does their brand kind of even run congruent with what you're promoting?
Amen. You said a mouthful right there, right? A mouthful. All right, I want to go to the next question. question, and I believe I'm going to start off with Latasha because she can teach me a thing or two, because I have a growth mindset and I want to hear all about this 411 rule. So why is it important to practice the 411 rule, or is it 411? I don't know. Latasha, tell us a little bit about that.
So I heard this a long time ago, the 411 rule, and honestly, the numbers didn't make sense to me and they still don't. However, I know the concept of the rule, so that's what I want to share. So that 411 rule is every time that you're sharing information on social media, whether it's business related or personal, make sure you balance that out. So basically, if I'm gonna give you the 411 on my business, also share a little bit about yourself, because you want to make sure people are connecting with you as well. You don't want people to just always hear about your business, 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 business. And I tell my clients all the time, make sure you're making a personal connection. People buy from people. They don't buy from, the brick and mortar. They buy from the company, the brand, that reputation that they're familiar with. So you want to make sure that you carry that same profile on social media. If I'm going to constantly tell you about my business, tell me about yourself. Tell me why I need to buy from you. Tell me why I need to engage with you and interact with you. And then once we build that, you sometimes build that personal feeling. Like you may have 5,000 friends on social media, and eventually you're going to be like, oh, I know them. If they post something about, oh, a baby was born or I got married, you can be like, oh my God, we got a new niece or a new nephew, because you feel like you have a personal connection with them. So you definitely want to make sure that rule is about balance, really. That's really what it is. Because when I first heard, I was like, 411, take it back to Mary J. Blige. What's the 411? And it's basically, let me share some information with you, not just about what I'm selling, but also about how I can be of service to you. Let me tell you about how great my day is. Let me tell you, have a good day.
Yeah, you said I keep saying, you saying a mouthful. So let me tell you, every now and then, those who follow me, I have to sprinkle in some personal touch, right? Because here's the thing, I don't want people to see me as this straight-laced, always business person, right? So lately, y'all know I've been posting pictures about Geo, right? My new dog, Geo. He is a mess, y'all. He's a mess. But it helps for you to connect with your audiences. So Mavis, do you have anything to say about the 411 rule? I mean, Tasha got the Mary J. Blige song going on in my head right now, but what do you have to add?
My personality is really so complex when it comes to things. As you can see, I'm silly at heart. I think a lot of stuff is funny that probably is not. I have a wicked sense of humor, but I'm very focused as far as with the community, empowerment and impactment. So, even though I can't be straight laced all the time, that's just not me. I have a wonderful son who I love and adore. And when he, I don't share him as much since I started with my, business this year. But like when I shared the post about him wanting to start his own business and a picture of him like from the side, because I didn't really put his face, that post got the most response probably of the year. One of the most highly responded. And I was like, it's my page, but he hijacked my page some kind of way. But they felt the connection with a mother being proud of her son and the sacrifices that we have both made to just be where we are today. That human factor, that connection, that even if you start from the bottom, you can still be at a certain place with your child. And it just really warmed my heart. And so I do agree with that. You're a person, you're not a robot. And, I feel like if you put personal stuff intermingle with your business, people will pay more attention to you instead of just scrolling saying she's selling something every day. They already know you're selling something every day. I tend to buy from people that I feel like need the business and have a good heart. And how would I know? You would know that if they share something personal on their pages. So I think that's a good idea.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. And the market spoke to you. There are times when I tell people that, sometimes they're afraid to bring their business to market. And I'm like, it don't have to be 100%. Bring your 80% solution and let the market give you the other 20%. They'll tell you what they like and don't like. So that's something that I always say. And having that human resources background and expertise, that human connection is vital. All right, Alonda, what would you say?
Well, I share my children and the things that I'm doing all the time. I'm very big on that, because I really believe in the human factor. So like Miss Mavis said, you have to show people that you're living. And I also want to have other people like me be encouraged that you can really pursue all of your dreams and your goals. That's a big part of what my business is. So I definitely agree with that. I would like to add to that too. Also, utilizing the different platforms appropriately too, because I know like I'm a picture share, and just make sure that that Instagram is more for pictures and Facebook is more for content. But absolutely, I share my children all the time what we're doing, my other career outside of my business. So I totally wholeheartedly agree. And I just want to connect with my people and realize that we are just people. You know what I mean? Like just be humble and walking through life every day.
Thank you. You made some great points. And here's something else that I got out of that, which was pay attention to the platform where you're posting, right? And so, like, you all may see me a lot on Facebook, but when you go over to LinkedIn, you like, oh, okay. Because they require a certain level of professionalism when you go to LinkedIn. All right, Valerie, what do you have to say about that 411?
Yeah, I definitely agree again with what everyone else has said. I would add that just from studying and being a storyteller, that you don't tell a point or make a point without a story, and you don't tell a story without making a point. So with that, I had to really get in that mindset of bringing that humanness to social media, because I'm not going to lie, sometimes I struggle with how much do I share, how much do I not share, and then I also struggle with sharing my girls, because sometimes they don't want everything on social media. So I have those struggles. Although I do share sometimes about them, really proud of them. They're in college now and they're at HBCUs and really doing well. So I'm proud of them and everything, but I have my limitations a lot, because sometimes I think if they want it to be shared, I let them share it. But I have learned that with this whole human connection, when we are sharing our stories, make a point with the story. That's why sometimes in my post, like when I'm running or something, I'll post that, but then I always try to post like a quote or something that goes along with it to really bring that human side, but also bring everything else in with it, that I want to empower, inspire others along with what I'm posting. So I've learned just from studying storytelling, because storytelling, that really brings people in, when people can really get inside and feel like your story and put themselves in your place. As my mama used to say, walk a mile in my shoes. So you don't make a point without telling a story, and you don't tell a story without making a point. So that's the part that I would add to what all of my other colleagues have said.
Thank you for saying that. Storytelling, that's huge. That is really huge in social media, because what they say, a picture can be a thousand, is a thousand words. And so it's important that we are connecting to our audience, right? And connecting to our target market. Like sometimes people come on social media and they think that is free for all, right? And it's like, no, spend some time building your avatar, right? Build your avatar, your target market, and target to them, right? Some things are not meant for everybody. And there have been times when people have sold to me, tried to sell to me a couple of things, and it clearly indicated to me by their messaging that they was sending me the same message that they've sent to everyone else, right? The other piece too, they had not studied me. So the type of product that they were trying to sell me wasn't appropriate for me. So I tried to be kind to ignore because I like people, right? But at a certain point, I had to share with them, like, this is not for me. Like, this is not for me. With the hopes of reducing or stopping, right? Because I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, I like you, but I might have to block you, right? I'm just keeping it real. So at some point you have to get to that and be real and authentic. So when is it okay to share someone's post? And by the way, I appreciate y'all showing the sharing the Facebook Live. I love y'all for that. So when is it okay to share someone's post? So Latasha, I'm gonna come to you.
So depending on what it is, especially if it's something informative, I'm likely going to one. If it's informative, I'm probably not just going to share it. I'm going to look it up first and make sure it's accurate. Because sometimes things look like facts, but they're not. But if it's something motivational or inspirational, I feel like if they're putting it out there, then obviously they want to inspire someone or they want other people to see it. And their network may not be the only reach that it's meant for. So I kind of make that conscious decision myself and say, okay, I'm gonna share this because it looks like something that I know if it's touching me, then it probably will touch somebody else that's that I'm connected with as well.
Okay, Alonda, when is a good time to share?
Well, I use this rule of thumb. If it's someone that I'm daily connected with, they know my personality. So I know that I already know that they won't mind. But if it's something very moving, I will like let them know, like, hey, girl, that moved me, or, that was informative, just to kind of give them the heads up so they don't see it later, like, oh, you post jack me. But I think it's very appropriate when it's relevant. But this is what I am sensitive to. If it's somebody's personal story, right? And it's something that is personal to that person, if I do decide to share it, I let them know that I am going to share it. I get permission first, but I also don't add to it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't try to take away or water down their story or the purpose and their message. So I think that, that's something that I think that people should be mindful of. Um, that's kind of my rule. But if it's somebody that I don't really know, it depends on kind of what it is. Like I'm kind of like with Latasha, if it looks factual, I kind of research it first to make sure that it's accurate because I don't want to be misleading my people. And if I find that even beyond my extensive research that it's not, I kind of delete it and I apologize to people and just keep it moving.
Thank you for that. All right, Mavis, what would you say? When do you share?
I would like to say you ladies are phenomenal, have some great information. I'm learning new stuff even today. When I share, it's people that I have a connection with and they have shown themselves knowledgeable, effective, and efficient in their fields. I do not want to do harm to somebody else who is growing and trying to learn, because I think sometimes we take for granted that people are at the level we might be on or have been on. And that is not true, even though people might put on personas or they come across a certain way on social media, but it's a lot of people, especially women in business, who are just starting out. I've had even conversations, within the past 2 weeks with women who are saying, well, I'm looking at you, what do I need to do? And asking for advice and stuff like that and encouragement. And you just have to think, if you're sharing something that's trash, that's the best way I can put it, that's not going to be helpful for them, I'm, just being honest, then you're not doing them any good. You're doing them a disservice. So for the most part, if it's something that I think needs to be shared directly with somebody that'll come to mind, I'll do it directly. But I really don't often, unless it's an event or something like that, don't share somebody's post, because I just don't want to get into that gray area of causing any more confusion.
Thank you. And people don't realize, initially the emotions will be there and they'll be like, oh, you're not sharing my post. But if you have like depending on who it is, and you have that relationship and rapport with that person, and you pull them aside and say, look, here's the reason why I did not. Here are some tweaks that you need to make. Once you make those tweaks, I'm all in. So I'm glad that you said that, Mavis. What about you, Valerie?
Yeah, you know, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here because with social media, it's like if you post it and you leave that share button there, if you do not change your settings to delete the share button, it's almost like you're okay with it being shared. Do you follow that train of thought? And so that's the whole piece there. So if you have that button, you're putting yourself out there. First of all, if you put it on social media, really you putting it out there, because if you have not set up your settings or whatever where only certain people can see your posts, then you're really putting yourself out there. The millions and billions of people can see whatever you post. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is, for me, when I am going to share someone's post, and it depends on what it is, if it's sensitive or whatever, I definitely will, maybe I'll comment in the comments and say, oh, this is good, may I share? So I get permission for that. But honestly, I really do feel like if you put it out on social media and you leave that share button, it's almost like you don't mind it being shared. But I will typically ask a person, depending on what it is, if I can share their post, and do the research on it. If it's something information, I try to do the research on it, make sure it's really true, because there are a lot of fairy tales and lies out here that go on in social media. We all know that. But honestly, I think if you put yourself out there, you're kind of putting yourself out there for whatever you place on social media to be shared.
Yep. Now you gave me a moment to pause for a second. I was like, dang, Valerie, that is right. When you think about it, right? We have the choice to control who shares it. So we need to think about that. Like and here's, I'm gonna take a little bit further because of that human resources piece of me, right? So do know, like someone else said, anyone can look you up, right? Like I have applied for jobs when they asked me for my social media handle. Regardless if you put it on there or not, they're gonna look you up. So if you don't want anyone else to see it, don't post it. Don't post it. And so I now want to shift gears and talk about all right, this is gonna be a sensitive subject. I'm about to ask it. So y'all
Bite the
get ready.
bullet. Just bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet and just do it. How do you handle when someone hijacks your post in the comments? Woo! They hijack your post, they comment underneath it, they try to steal your friends. Oh, Lord, let's talk about this. All right, let's see. Let me see. Who am I going first?
Let me go.
Mavis, you
Let me
ready? Go ahead.
go. I just can't contain myself. It's just too good to me this morning. Um, that's the nice way of hijacking, but then you can have some posts where people can even be negative because they might not like the who you're trying to support, or it's kind of like if you have a friend and they're mad at somebody else, and you friends with two people, and then they get to arguing and it don't even have anything to do with you. That could even happen in a post. And what do you do, God forbid, when two people, when it's an argument in your post and it has nothing to do with you? The best thing to do is to delete and block. If they feel like they want to escalate the situation, because some people, just like in real life, seek attention, and they want to use your platform to get to another level, and they figure, well, she's done all the leg work, let me I can skip a few steps. She's done all the leg work, and let me jump on her post because I see she has a large following, but they don't know that you've been working with relationships with those people. And that's really kind of offensive because they don't take into consideration that is your business and that is your brand. And so just like if somebody were to come into your house and try to take something that didn't belong to them, and I know it seems kind of harsh, but you don't need that negative flow for what you're doing. And if it's somebody that's really supposed to be your friend and supposed to have a relationship with you, you should be able to explain to them that, cussing in my posts, being foolish and stuff like that, that's not helping me with what I'm trying to do. You're tearing something down that I've tried to build. And if they don't see it as offensive or something that's out of the way, then maybe you probably need to back up from them anyway. And they don't really care about what you're trying to do with your business. So that's all I got to say. So thank you very much.
Oh, you said a
Deleting block.
mouthful right there. That was one of those grab your tea, your coffee, and you sip.
Leading
It
block.
sure was.
Protect yourself at all costs. That's my thing.
Oh, Lord, thank you, Mavis. What about you, Valerie?
Yeah,
How
you
do
know
you
what?
handle it?
I'm over here jumping. I'm jumping out of my seat too because that's true what Mavis said. It's that thing called delete and block. And I'm not a confrontational person. I mean, like I will just let it go, just let it go, let it go. It's like when they go low, we go high. So when they go low, I go high. I'm not confrontational. I really believe what is for me will come to me. And there are just some battles that I will not fight, and that is one of them. I just don't fight it and just move on, because at the end of the day, it's about my peace. But I know how to get my peace back. It's been a work in progress, and the way I get my peace back is delete, block, move on, go high, go on to the next person or whatever, and just continuously have those people in your network, in your community, that will build you up, because we just don't have time for nonsense. At least I don't have time for nonsense, and I don't think you all do either.
Nope, I have no time. And my patience as I get older is getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Say that again, Jennifer. You're exactly right. And the older you get, you just have more things. We're all here in business, and we're not in business just to look good. We do want to make money, but we just don't have time for foolishness. We got big girl things to handle.
Thank you, Valerie. What about you, Tasha?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it back to a comment that I seen if it doesn't align with your brand, because I'm very particular about that. People will come into your post and throw their opinions out there, and what you don't want to do is deter your prospective clients or your friends and associates, because they assume that this person is commenting on your post and you agree with it. That'll mess up your reputation. It could harm your brand. I, I'm thinking specifically about not only our general posts as individuals, but I watch a lot of the news alerts, the new live news videos that'll pop up, and it could be about COVID-19 updates. It could be about an accident that happened. You can go in those comments and you can see political comments, racial comments, all throughout that chain. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with the article or the post that is being shared, but you can see the hate just brewing in the comments. Unfortunately, the news station, I don't think they have anyone there monitoring each and every comment to hit delete. But with us, we have that luxury of being able to get those notifications, go in, delete those comments from our posts, because you don't want anything to be associated with your brand. Because the first thing people will say is, oh, look who their friends are. I can't support them. Look, not my business. It's not my business, and I don't want it to interfere with my business. Period.
Thank you for saying that, Latasha. I'm telling you, y'all are raising comments and saying things that's causing me to pause for a second. I don't know about those who are in the Zoom room and who are on Facebook Live, but let me tell you, we should all have an open mind to what's being heard. And this is all to help us to level up. All right, Alonda, how you feel about this topic?
This one is very near and dear to me. so, I'm gonna address this in three parts. So, for one of my biggest pet peeves is people who fringe act. So, cause I feel like that says a lot to me about how you feel like I feel about you. I'm definitely, if you know me, I'm one to always align. So I feel like if there's someone that you know that I know more personally to you, and there would be no way that you would meet this person if it wasn't for me or some type of life circumstance attached with me. Know that I would align you. Just reach out and say, hey, I noticed Dr. J, she's doing career stuff. Um, tell me a little bit more about her. I would love to connect with her. I will connect you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's no reason to be sneaky about that. Like, that just makes me look at people kind of like, okay. um and then to address the friend, I've had several friends argue on posts whom I love near and dear, and I've had to like intervene, like, okay, guys, cut it out because both of your points are correct because it's from your own perspective. Like, it's nothing to argue about. And like depending upon how because I'm always busy, so a lot of times I'm not on the post. I will go back and delete it and clean it up, and I'll address them inbox wise and be like, we can't have that. And I've had other friends who are like Miss Mavis said, attention seekers. They just it doesn't matter what you post. They're gonna go in and have long drawn out paragraphs, and I'll tell them like, sugar, that should have been an inbox message. Um, the post wasn't the right platform for your personal, whatever. And I'm very big on that because I post my kids a lot. And so that's like one of my pet peeves. Like, don't put anything on my kids' post or anything like that. Like, that's just inappropriate, especially if you really like are not involved in that area of people's lives. It's just it's a thin line for me with that type of thing. And then also too, like if it's somebody a post, like I've shared one of you guys' businesses or something like that, I've inboxed other people, like, go to that person's inbox. Don't ask a whole bunch of questions on the post because some of the questions that you're asking, it's a customizable answer. It's not a general answer. You know what I mean? So that one is like a really big pet peeve for me. Um, when and where to post, and the friend thing is like a thing for me. So that is like a big thing where I wish like people would get their etiquette together for sure.
Woo! Let me sip my coffee. If it was later in the day, I'll be holding up my wine glass. But anyway, next. Next topic. All right. So time is going by fast and quickly. So let's spend a few moments because I want to open up the Zoom room for questions. But I want to be able to help those in the Zoom room and those who are viewing this now and who will be viewing later. How do you build relationships on social media? I would love for each one of you to give me one tip on how you can build relationships on social media, particularly in the business. All right, I'm going to start off with you, Tasha.
Definitely make it a point to map out who you want to be connected with so that you can be intentional on how you reach out to them. I know I follow, we follow a lot of people on social media, or we're connected with a lot of people on social media, but a lot of those connections are because you may be interested in something that they're doing or the business that they have, the services that they offer. But to truly build a relationship, you need to know, okay, they have a service that I know I'm going to need. How can I connect with them? It may start out with me following their social media posts and commenting and seeing what type of personality that they have. And then maybe later reaching out via a private message. Don't do the private message first before you actually make a connection and build that relationship with them. The other thing is making sure you're genuine and doing that. Don't just go through their page, or I see this on Instagram a lot where people will go through like your top 50 posts and then send you an inbox message. And I'm like, no, that's not how I operate. But some people just want to, I guess they don't know how to show that support, and they figure that that's the way I'm going to do it. But definitely be genuine in your connections and engaging in your connections. Don't just be fluid with it where I'm just going to hit like and they'll see my name pop up on their notifications 1,000 times, so they know I'm following them. No, you got to be genuine with it.
Ooh, I think you need to say that again for the people in the back of the room, front of the room, side of the room,
For the people
outside.
in
I
the
think you
back.
need to say that again.
Yes, I was gonna say that same thing. Like, say it one more time, Miss Latasha. One more time.
You have to be genuine. All right, Alonda, what's your one tip?
So my one tip is when you do that inbox, like Latasha said, do not send the inbox initially. Make sure that you have supported that person in some way before you ask for their support. I'm very big on that. Like, be careful about asking people to support you when you haven't shown support. And how you can show support is by, if someone's having an event and you're admiring them, share their event. You know what I mean? Or offer a positive comment on their post. Let it be genuine. I'm not saying, don't fake it till you make it. That is not the advice. Let me be clear. I'm gonna say that for the people that's gonna misconstrue that. Do not fake it till you make it. Don't just do it because you want your foot in the door. Because people like me, Dr. Jen, all the beautiful ladies on this panel will sense it because we've been doing this for a while. But support people who you do admire. Let them know that they are touching your life, and be humble. Like, I don't care how far in business you have been, but there's something that you want to follow this person for. There's something that you admire about them. Humble yourself when you come in and make sure you show support and give support as if you would want them to.
Thank you. That's solid, solid advice. We're still continuing that thread of being authentic, right? And being genuine. All right, Mavis, what do you have to add to the conversation? One tip.
One of the key things as far as building relationships, as the other ladies have spoke on, was to support, generally support people's mission. The ladies that I admire and I look up to them as far as their work and what they're doing, that has really gotten me additional opportunities just by showing genuine support. So that's really the key thing, to show genuine support of the people who you admire.
Thank you, Mavis. All right, Valerie.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. And I would add that we know that there's an art to relationships and also an art to managing social media relationships. So what I've tried to do in the past is look at the work that they're doing and try to identify with something that I like, and then when I'm reaching out to them, show that human side and say, well, I saw that you did XYZ. I saw that you were on this panel. I saw that you spoke at wherever, whatever they did. Call that out, so it will show that I am genuinely interested in what they are doing and what they have done. And once I do that, then in the message, I will say, I would love for us to chat. So set up like a 5 minute coffee chat or 10-minute coffee chat now, and just get on the phone with them and genuinely learn about what they're doing, and then show that human side. Because I think in this life, we do a lot of connecting, but we don't necessarily do a lot of communicating. And for those of us in business, we want to communicate and then potentially collaborate. So when you jump on the phone, can hop on the phone, and I even learned this tip just last week, in that you can even say, I just want 11 minutes of your time. And so when you say 11 minutes of your time, that piques their interest. They're like, oh, 11 minutes, not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, not 15 minutes. You want 11 minutes of my time. So you give them 11 minutes, or you take 11 minutes of their time, and then you stick to that 11 minutes, but you come and you're prepared with saying, okay, so I saw this, I saw that, this is good, how are you doing this, how are you doing, so you giving and taking in that whole situation. And then I am really active on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I liked about what someone did for me on LinkedIn. Instead of just sending me an invite on LinkedIn, they actually took the time out and said, "Hi, I like the work you're doing. I would love for us to be connected, and I would love for us to have a chat." And that really weighed heavy for me because they just were not coming into my inbox and just saying, "Okay, I got this product or whatever. I want you to look at it," so forth and so on. They seemed like they genuinely had an interest in what I was doing, and I've been able to sit down and chat with people like that, just a few minutes, not a whole lot of time because I know everyone is busy. But I would say that as like my one tip. Really, really becoming genuinely interested in what the individual is doing and then go from there, and even jump on the phone, because the thing about it now is that when we jump on the phone with someone, that's showing a difference because everybody's online and just, typing and all that stuff like that. So when you get back to the way things were done originally, like getting back to the old times of communication, jumping on the phone 5 minutes or whatever, that can show that you're genuinely interested in what they're doing. And then you begin to form these relationships. You may even find out when their birthday is, and then you could just pick up a card and just send them a birthday card, or even just reach out online in their inbox that, "Hey, happy birthday. I remember when we talked months ago, you mentioned blah, blah, blah." So I would give those. And listen, I know there's probably more than one tip, so I'm sorry, but let me sum it up and just say it's coming in as being genuinely interested in them and looking at the work they're doing and making a connection.
Thank you. Thank you. That look, I use a little bit of all y'all methods of what you just said in terms of strategies and everything, but I like that 11 minutes thing. I like that 11 minutes. I'm going to add that to my book of strategies. Now, here's something that I do in terms of building relationships, in terms of cultivating, nurturing, fostering, and nurturing relationships. I make it my business to remember at least one or two data points about a person, right? Even if I have to put it in my notes, right, on my phone or in the contacts or whatever, so that when I connect, oh, excuse me, when I reach out to them, to connect with them, I can communicate with them about something that's going on in their life personally. For example, like you got Valerie, she just finished a marathon, right? And I'm like, kudos to you, girl. I'm still trying to make it down the street, right? And so, if I'm connecting with Latasha, she's funny. Y'all don't realize how hilarious Tasha is. She is hilarious. I look forward to her Cam stories, right? I look forward to her son's stories. Mavis, I just connected with Mavis, right? She's out of Mississippi, right? And so she's doing some wonderful things. I hop on her post when she's getting all these awards and accolades and all of that, and I'm checking her out. But right before we got on here, she was telling me about a drive that's about to happen, a nonprofit drive for little girls adopting girls, and I love that. That touched me. And Alonda, I call her my little sis. We talk like nearly almost every other day. We do a check-in with each other to make sure that we're okay. Now, I understand you may not be able to have warm audiences for thousands of people. I get that. But I'm hoping that the tips that were provided to you and strategies during this last 50 minutes or whatever will help you warm up your audience, right? In terms of how you show up online. So Tasha, thank you for having my back on Facebook, because I'm like the octopus, like, what are they saying? What questions are out there? So
Question, if did you see the question that was posted on there?
no, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, somebody did post a question, so let me know. I will definitely read it so you can have it.
Okay, so I'm opening the floor for questions. So I'm looking, let me check the chat room real quick. All right, here's the question. So you have person, your business admiring, and you watch them on a couple of platforms and you know about their mission. How can you not look needy when you reach out, or to be honest? Um, Okay, so what I interpret that question to be, like, you're admiring a person, you see them from afar, you're connected with them on social media, and you want to reach out to them. How do you do that? If I interpret that question correctly, F. Clark, let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Good morning, ladies.
Great morning.
So you did interpret it correctly. I just basically, like I said, you saw them on a couple platforms, you researched them, you found them on LinkedIn, you found them on Facebook, and you've been watching them, you comment a couple times, but you really have a business question, but you don't want to look business needy, or you don't want to look lowbrow business, you know. So you want to come across professional and likable, but you really have a questions that may be beneath them or something like that, and you don't want them to get that sense about you, if that makes any sense.
Okay, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So I want to go to Mavis to answer that question.
I think, you know, if you have studied somebody, their personality and who they are, and which nothing is a microwave fix, you have to spend time to actually, like Dr. Brian said, she's learning about each one of us who are on the panel. That was not overnight. And so if you have something that you have to be answered like right now, then maybe you might ask for a consultation specifically with the person. And most consultations are free. So that wouldn't seem as if you're trying to be needy or anything like that. Most people, when it comes to their business, they offer free consultations. And I would say if it's somebody who feels like they're so up in the air with their nose and are rude, then maybe that might not be the person that you want to deal with in business anyway, because we're all learning, we're all trying to grow. And I haven't been where I am right now, and it hasn't been overnight. And so I look at it as a, you know, an honor to serve other women who are trying to grow in business. So I would say just ask for a consultation, like Valerie said, 11 minutes. Give them, say, can I please talk to you for 11 minutes about a quick question? And if it's something more, then maybe we can follow up with a full consultation and just go from there. And if they don't respond and act like then just move to somebody else, because I truly believe in the Most High, and that there are divine connections for what you need at the appointed times.
Let me tell y'all, Mavis, that was a perfect answer. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give it to you from both sides. And Valerie and I just talked about this, I think, a week ago, which is, as a business owner, you can offer a free consultation and have a limit, a time limit. Okay? So that way, like, I have a 15-minute limit. And I start the conversation saying that, like, hey, let's chat for 15 minutes. I want to learn a little bit more about you. I want you to learn a little bit more about me, because we're interviewing each other for that match, right? And there have been times, and I will tell you, like, I have not done services for people because it just wasn't a match, or I referred them to someone else. So you got to be have integrity in these streets as well, right? So definitely have a time limit, but never be shy about if you want to get someone's business. And we're going to do a round robin when this is over, so people can tell you how they can be reached in their website and all of that. And feel free to reach out to anyone that you feel like you need services from. So hopefully, I hope that answered your question, F. Clark. All right. So I know we got we got India in the house, right? Y'all, we got folks from all over the globe watching us. Come on now, come through. Latasha, I'm going to come back to you to see, have I missed a question? Is there another question that's going on?
Yeah, so you had a question on Facebook in the chat from who did that question come from? Charlene Day. And
Yes.
she wanted to know, how do you address people that are constantly posting in your group? So you may have a public or a private Facebook group, and they're constantly posting, but they're not really engaging with you.
Woo!
And I wanted to jump in and
Woo!
give
You go
my,
ahead and answer that one because I'm trying to be on good behavior.
I know. Listen,
yeah.
I'm trying to be on good behavior too. So, Latasha, I want you to tell us what to do with that one.
We past
Well,
good behavior now. Just go on and say what you're gonna say. Just,
so I'm actually torn about that because depending on what that group was set up for, a lot of people don't read the rules. They don't read the rules and they don't read the expectations. And so they just see what the theme of the group is about. And they're like, oh, okay, let me just share and post, share and post, share and post without really knowing how to properly engage. But I think that goes back to not knowing social media etiquette. There are so many times what I've done, I put on the approval button. You can't just post in my group because I need to make sure that what you are posting, and I also post daily, not daily, routine reminders that say, for going back to that 411 thing, as much as you're sharing about your personal stuff, please engage with the rest of the members, or please share something that they can benefit from, not just your pockets. And I'm very, very, very adamant about that. Make sure that you put that those restrictions on your group so that people can't just overwhelm your groups with spam, because that's what it is, really, spam. A lot of that stuff they can post on their personal page or their business page, but because you've done the work and you've built the platform, they feel like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw it over here. No, especially when we don't even have a relationship. Now, I'm particular, any of my speakers, and Jennifer will know this, my speakers that support Sweatpants and Chill, when they got something going on, oh, I'm sharing it. And I'm sharing it in that group because I need people to know this person supported us, shared information, gave us some tools, resources, whatever it may be. Let's go back and support them for this new thing that they have going on. And I think that's how it needs to be. Some people just say, oh, I like what they got going on, let me go throw my stuff over here. And you gotta watch folks. So Charlene, thank you for sharing that, for posting that, because that's one thing that I know I was having a problem with. And I had to go to them Facebook settings, set those restrictions up, y'all.
Yeah, and you know what, Dr. Jennifer, if I can add this to what Latasha just said, sometimes when they happen, because I have a Facebook group too, Women Boldly Living Facebook group, and we post, or I post things related to women not giving up on life, love, nor themselves. So I've had that to happen, and I put in the restrictions because, as Latasha said, people don't read directions and instructions about how the Facebook group is supposed to go. So I've had to actually put someone on pause in my group that has just done that, just repeatedly post things. And sometimes it's related, sometimes it's not. And I just think with that sometimes if they want to post like that, honestly, they need to get their own Facebook group and stop hijacking yours. And then sometimes, I even thought about with this individual, maybe I should make her on one of the community managers, but I don't really know her. But I thought about maybe just having a meeting and just saying, okay, well, let us get on the same page and maybe you can assist me with this. I haven't done that yet. I see Alonda shaking her head like, no, don't do it. But anyway, that's just a thought that I had. I haven't gone with it. I just put in the restrictions where the posts have to be approved. But I also feel like Latasha was saying, just torn on it a little bit, because I'm like, if you want to do this, they may need to go ahead and get their own Facebook group, which is another option.
All right, so I know we're over time, but I got to ask this question, right? Woo, I feel like we just warming up. I don't think the folks ready for this question that I'm about to come, because I'm gonna pull this thread a little bit further. How do you handle when folks come in your group and they steal your stuff? Woo! Woo! And they still remain friends with you, and you see stuff, you like, hold up. Wasn't that in my group? Did they really? Woo! Alonda, how do you handle that?
So that's why I was telling Miss Valerie, don't do the community manager thing, because what I know is people sometimes attach themselves to you to gain the confidence to do what they want to do. So I say that to say, how you handle that is say, hey, I noticed, see me, I'm still young. Y'all are a little bit more seasoned and polished. So so I would just boldly say to them, like, so I noticed that we have a lot of the same similar ideas. Um, and I've been doing this a little longer. I would be happy to mentor you, or like we can have a coffee date, a meetup or something like that, and do a share of ideas, because I would be really curious to see exactly how far out this is, just to gauge too, like, are you really stealing my ideas, or maybe your season was deferred, like maybe you was really wanting to do this whole time, but at the end of the day, you being around our, my community just maybe gave you the confidence to go forward with your idea. But I would honestly tell the person, like, I'm a little uncomfortable with how you moving. So we can do collaboration and not competition. Or, I'm big on trust. And, Dr. J knows that. So I'm like, if I feel you, I'm a Pisces in nature. So if I feel you start moving a little funny, I'm gonna let you know. The water can't change drastically on me. I'll be like, what's going on here? What's going on? The temperature's changing in this water.
Woo, thank you. Thank you. Mavis, I do want to get your perspective on this particular question.
I think what Miss Alana said was very, very true, to have real conversation if you do have an issue with it. Because I think a lot of times we have issues with people and we won't address them, and it doesn't get better. That's the thing. If they're really a hijacker for your group, it doesn't get better. And I just put it to the example I had shared in one of the messages. Is a group with some ladies I had, and she was like, well, share it in a group. And so she pushed me and told me, well, share it in my group. I wouldn't have did that if she wouldn't have told me, or because I just try to be respectful of other people's groups, and because that's what they're building and I'm supporting. It's kind of like somebody who wants to be the main character when you're a backup dancer. That's the best way to put it. Um, you're the main character in the group if you created it, and that's your vision. And then the main thing about it is you have a vision. You have a vision and direction that you want it to go, and you don't want it to get off track. And some people, although they might want to be a part of it, don't have that full vision for the group. So I would just have a teachable moment, not to make anybody feel bad. I'm all about teachable moments, to let them know that that might not be the best way going forward, especially if you're trying to build your own circle of people. And if you keep trying to hijack my stuff, you're never going to really build your own group to support your brand. So that would be the teachable moment on how can we build you up, um, but you also not take from what I'm trying to do. I think that would be the best way to use it as a teachable moment.
Awesome. Tasha, you got anything to add to it? I see it's ideas and thoughts ruminating in your brain. Tell us, share it.
No, I mean, I totally agree with what was said, that teachable moment, because I try to nip it in the bud at the beginning. Like, no, let me review this first before I share it with my audience. But definitely, if something, because I do have moderators in some of my groups, so if things do happen to slip by, you know, I do disapprove or remove items, and I do explain to them. I don't just delete it and then they like, well, why she delete my stuff? I do. If I delete it, I am sending them a message to explain that to them. So it's not like, oh, she just shut me down. She don't want me to promote my stuff. No, it's not like that. I'm all about promoting and sharing and all of that. But you got to be mindful of how you do it and when you do it, because you don't want to overwhelm the people with information that doesn't align to why they came to your circle in the first place.
I love that. And my girl Adrene just joined in. But what I will say is this: you got Dr. Karen Hills Pruden, you got Ladrine Peterson, you got myself, right? We're all HR specialists, right? Experts in our field. And we during the summer had a career elevation panel, and this is what we were talking about as a panel. We connected with one another and we collaborated and we partner and we still talk to one another. There's no competition and we respect each other. And if we think something is a better fit for someone else, we refer out to each other, right? We refer out to each other. And so, Valerie, did you have anything to add to that? You know, the hijacking piece, and also somebody walking off with your stuff and starting their own group, and you see your stuff again in their group. How do you handle
Yeah,
that?
that's really tough. I don't have much more to add except for I'm not a confrontational person, but I do understand why it's important to get our things trademarked, copyrighted. That's a whole nother level of conversation. But I do understand the reason why we should do that, why we should buy our domain names, so forth and so on. My husband works for he's government and works for the Patent and Trademark Office. So I got a little bit intel, into it, not much, but I do understand why that's so important, the trademark and the copywriting, and just making sure that we secure our intellectual property. And again, that's a whole nother conversation and everything, but for me personally, I'm just not confrontational. I go on and do what I'm supposed to do, and then I let the chips fall wherever they may for the other person, and just take the high road with it. But there are some legal things that we can do in securing our intellectual property. I'll leave it at that.
Look, I didn't tell y'all that Valerie and I attend the same church, right? And
Yes.
so we have been connected probably for well over a decade now. And so we always hear, you know, when they go low, we go high, right? So that's been ingrained in us. So, oh my God, I got to wrap up this panel, y'all. Oh, I got to wrap it up. So before I shut it down, I want to make sure I do a quick round robin for each of you to leave your contact info and let the listeners know and viewers know how they can find you. So Mavis, I want to start off with you.
Hello, it's been a pleasure being with you, wonderful, illustrious women on today. My name is Mavis A. Career once again. You can find me on Facebook, Mavis Career, LinkedIn, Mavis Career, and Instagram. Also, I can be reached at maviscareermedia@gmail.com, and I look forward to partnering with you.
Awesome. I know you went through that quickly. Feel free to drop it in the chat, and then feel free to drop your contact info underneath the Facebook Live video. Okay. All right. Latasha Briscoe.
Yes, ma'am. So if there are any busy female entrepreneurs out there that need to figure out how to engage their ideal client in order to build a profitable brand, feel free to reach out to me, and I can be found at latashabriscoe.com. I'm on social media at Latasha Briscoe, and you can also find me on Instagram at Latasha Briscoe or Creatives Coach.
Thank you. All right, Alonda.
I am Alonda Ross Brooks on Facebook. You can find me at Coach Alonda Brooks on Facebook. On Instagram, I must become in the number one. You can find me on my podcast every Sunday at 3 p.m. It's called I Am Becoming. And you can reach out to me on email. I must become the number one at yahoo.com. And I look forward to serving you all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. All right, Valerie.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me too, Jennifer, and everyone else for showing up, for those on Facebook Live and here in the room, because it wouldn't be a success if you all did not show up and even hear what we had to say. So I am just like honored that you all came. So in order to find me, I am on Facebook at Valerie Ashford Brown, and then also on LinkedIn as the same name, Valerie Ashford Brown. I also have the Women Boldly Living Facebook group. You can connect there, and then also on the business page. And on Instagram, I'm not on the gram as much, but you can find me there is at Val Brown Speaks, and also my website, and I'll put it in the comments as well. It's valerieashfordbrown.com. So if you are a female out there trying to get your shift together in your personal and professional life, and trying to find that thing and launch that next big idea, make sure you get in contact with me, as I am your person, your woman. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valerie. And I am Dr. Jennifer Bryant. I am known as the fire thrower, the fire igniter. And I'm about that life to help accelerate you to the next level in your careers through leadership development and personal and professional development. You can find me on Facebook as Dr. Jennifer Bryant, and my Facebook group is called Reaching Within an Empowerment Journey. And I can be found on LinkedIn as Dr. Jennifer Bryant, and I'm on Instagram as Reaching Within. And my website is reachingwithinempowerment.com. Thank you, everyone, for sitting here with us. This conversation was fire. I don't know about y'all, but I got some new tips. I better get my behavior together in some of these areas, right? So thank you. You all have a marvelous day, and enjoy your holidays with your family and friends, and keep seizing the opportunities. I love you all. And until we have another panel, I hope to see you again. So take care.
Thank you.
All right, I stopped that recording. That was
Okay.
good.
Hey, Dr. Jennifer, that was great. Thank you for having me. Ladies?
Oh, absolutely.
Olanda must have dropped off. Okay.
Yeah, she must have dropped.
Mavis,
She had to
and
go to
Latasha?
work. Remember, she had to go.
Oh,
to work.
yes, that is right. Yeah.
Are we still live? I think we still live.
Are we still live?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me come off.
Hello, Facebook land.